We often think of men who use women as those who deliberately play with a woman's heart. And yes, those men exist. They're like jumbo jets. You can hear them coming from a mile away. However, there's another type of man who uses women almost unintentionally, as a side effect of his unresolved issues. These men can appear to be good guys on the surface. When you first meet them, they're polite, engaging, and even seem like the perfect match. They might charm your friends, win over your family, and even be adored by your pets. But behind that exterior, they often leave a trail of broken hearts. So why does this happen? In this article, we'll explore the reasons and types of so-called good men who use women, often without meaning to. Let's start with one common type, the broken man. Take, for example, a man who is genuinely attracted to a woman. At first, everything is going great. He enjoys the attention, and it feels like he's getting exactly what he wants. But as soon as the woman starts to express her own interest and desire, he suddenly pulls back, feeling overwhelmed, almost as if he's being surrounded by hungry velociraptors. His fear of intimacy or unresolved emotional issues cause him to self-sabotage, leaving the woman confused and hurt. On the surface, a broken man can seem like he's ready for commitment. He may say things like, "I'm so ready for a relationship," or "I want something serious." But the moment someone shows genuine interest in him, he loses attraction and withdraws. Sometimes these men are aware of their issues, but they hide them well, at least for the first few months of dating. Others may not even realize they have these problems, but their behavior will give clues, which we'll discuss further. Many women fall into the trap of thinking they can fix these men. If I just love him enough, or if I can show him how great we could be together, they tell themselves, hoping for a different outcome. But here's the hard truth. You cannot fix a broken man. He's not a project. He needs to work on himself, just like anyone else who has unresolved issues. Let's also acknowledge that this isn't exclusive to men. Some women too unintentionally break hearts, but since we're focusing on men for this discussion, we'll stay on that track. Now, let's talk about another type of man who uses women, though he might not mean to. The man who isn't ready for a relationship. This man does all the things that would lead someone to believe he's interested in a long-term commitment. Dates, sweet words, emotional connection. But when it comes down to it, he's not ready for anything serious. If he's open and honest about this from the start, he might not technically be a user, but even then, most women who continue to date him will end up hurt. If a man tells you he's not ready for a relationship and you are, it's in your best interest to walk away. Now, back to the broken man. His problem is often that he genuinely doesn't mean to cause harm. It's a side effect of his personal struggles. For example, a man who has experienced trauma might have emotional swings that make it difficult for him to maintain stable, healthy relationships. One day he's affectionate and sweet, and the next he's distant, unresponsive, or even argumentative. It's like being on a roller coaster of affection and rejection, leaving the woman on the other end thinking, "What just happened?" Even the man himself may be baffled by his own emotional ups and downs. Here's a crucial point. Many people have their share of bad days and emotional baggage, but with a broken man, his behavior often doesn't make sense. This is one of the first signs you're dealing with someone who may unintentionally be using you. A truly good guy, even with his quirks, will generally be consistent. He may be mysterious at times, but he won't leave you confused about his feelings or actions. In contrast, a user leaves you feeling unsure, like when a man sleeps with you one day and then ghosts you the next. Another red flag. He constantly reassures you, but you never feel reassured. It's not because you have trust issues, it's because his actions don't align with his words. He might offer seemingly logical explanations for his behavior, but the red flags keep piling up. For instance, he might dismiss your concerns about his flirting with another woman by saying, "I flirt with everyone, you're still my favorite." When this kind of thing happens repeatedly, it's a sign that something's off. If you find your own mental health deteriorating because of your relationship with a man, it's another sign you might be dealing with a user. Whether it's deliberate or not, his behavior is causing you harm, and it's important to take note of how you're feeling. There's also the emotionally avoidant man. He may have been let down in the past, likely during childhood, and as a result, he avoids emotional intimacy. He will often pursue impossible or unavailable love because that feels safer to him. If you get too close, he'll pull away, not because he isn't interested, but because he's scared of getting hurt. Unfortunately, this creates a frustrating cycle where he comes close, pulls away, and then returns again, leaving the woman feeling used. If you find yourself drawn to a man like this, ask yourself, do you like who he is now, or are you only interested in who he could become? If you're happy with the man as he is, things might be okay. But if you're holding out for his potential, that's a sign of trouble. Another dangerous type of good man is the emotionally immature or childish man. He's fun, playful, and often very charming at first, but once the relationship deepens, his immaturity starts to show. When problems arise, he never takes responsibility. Everything is always someone else's fault. He's emotionally unavailable when you need him most, and if you show any negative emotions, he'll shut down or accuse you of overreacting. He might seem confident, but any constructive criticism will send him into defense mode. Some of these men aren't looking for a girlfriend. They're looking for a mother figure to heal their emotional wounds. If a man is aware of his issues and actively working on them, that's a positive sign. But if he's in denial, it's a huge red flag. You're not responsible for fixing anyone, and staying in a relationship where you feel used will only lead to heartache. In conclusion, while some men may seem good on the surface, unresolved emotional issues can lead to unintentional harm in relationships. Whether they are emotionally broken, avoidant, or immature, the result is the same: confusion, heartache, and feelings of being used. Be aware of the signs, trust your instincts, and always prioritize your own emotional well-being. Thank you for sticking around until the end of this article. I hope you found it informative.